It's a big moment with a lot of emotions when you hand the keys over to a new driver. We want you to buckle up, slow down, and please no texting while driving. Our family cares about your family, and your safety is our #1 priority. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit us at one of our 4 convenient locations or dingmans.com.
It's that time of year. It's a cool October evening, beautiful night here at Phelps Field, and it's the start of the Class A State Playoff Tournament. It's number 2 Westside. It's number 15 Papillion-La South, and we're minutes away from the start of this one. My name is Jaden Taylor. Alongside me tonight is Ross Jernstrom. And Ross, a big game here tonight. Westside coming off of somewhat of an odd last 2 weeks. They're ready for a big night here tonight.
This is the first test on the road to Memorial Stadium later next month, and I'm telling you what, this is a great atmosphere here tonight. 54 degrees, clear skies, just a slight wind out of the north, about 10 miles an hour.
It's going to be a big night for the Warriors, trying to get themselves back to the state title game for the 3rd straight year, and this is how they're going to be able to do it. Looking at the far side of the bracket, Millard South and Omaha North are currently going on at Buell Stadium. Millard South looking to continue their dream season. Gage Stanger back in at the quarterback position after being out last week. Then they have the 8-9 matchup. Columbus going up against North Platte. That one's out at North Platte. Currently, you guys can watch that in the Eagle Sports Network. 4-13, Gretna, Lincoln East, 8-1 Gretna going up against Lincoln East. It's a quarterback battle in that one. Zane Flores going up against Noah Walters. Then we have the 4-13 matchup. Last one was 5-12. Elkhorn South going up against Kearney. Kearney looking to play spoiler for the 2nd year in a row. Elkhorn South looking to continue their harsh rushing game and move on to the next round. Looking now Westside side of the bracket. Westside the 2 seed. They'll be going up against Papillion South here. Bellevue West going up against Papillion-La Vista. They're the 3 seed. Grand Island and Creighton Prep currently going on at Omaha Burke. Actually, that one will start at 7:30. The current game going on at Burke right now is the 7-10 spot at Omaha Burke against Lincoln Southeast. So a lot of big matchups going forward. And looking here for this side of the bracket, as Westside's going up against Papillion South, a win here would likely go up against either a Burke or Lincoln Southeast. I think Westside would much rather see Lincoln Southeast.
That's true, because Burke has really come on here towards the latter part of the season. They didn't play football a year ago, and it kind of showed at the early start of the season, but they've really come on strong here in the second half.
So looking at the last 3 weeks, it's been a weird week. We have not been back here live in 3 weeks. We were supposed to be here 2 weeks ago, but Omaha Bryan, what a weird situation. They forfeit up against Westside in Week 8. They had an altercation Week 7. Them and Omaha Benson ended up getting into an altercation and a fight, and both teams were suspended for Week 8. Benson lost up against Miller North, and Omaha Bryan had to forfeit to Westside. Neither of those teams will see in the state tournament, but Westside did see Omaha Benson, and man, last week was ugly.
Yeah, it was pretty much over at the start of the game. A lot of mistakes by the Bunnies there up at Benson when they played that game, and a lot of returns on kickoffs, punt returns, after safeties, and Westside just dominated that game from the start.
So we'll take a quick break here on WTV Live. Once we come back, we get more into the KB pregame show and more into this playoff matchup. Back here live on the KB pregame show. Jaden Taylor alongside Ross Jernstrom. It's a chilly night. It's kind of the first one we've seen all season. I've had to bring gloves here tonight. But to start off looking last week up against Omaha Benson, I mean, this game was just ugly all around, and it started off ugly. Westside, in their first 6 possessions between both teams, man, what a start. Cole Harbman, third play of the game, drives Benson back from their 20 into the end zone for a safety. The next upcoming punt kickoff Caleb Benning takes it back for a touchdown. It's 9-0. Right after that, it's a quick 3-and-out for Benson. Then a 6-play, 38 drive capped off by Anthony Rizak to Grant Guyette, 30-yard touchdown on the sixth play of that drive. Another Benson 3-and-out. They lost 8 yards on that drive. Then back in once again. First play of the next drive for Westside. It's a touchdown. Grant Guyette once again. But then going after that, another 3-and-out for Benson. We don't see it there. Another 3-and-out for Benson. Then another touchdown, a rushing touchdown this time for Dominic Rizak. Another safety later on, and another touchdown on special teams. It was 39-0 at the end of the first quarter. And, man, this was just not even fun to watch once it came to the third quarter.
And that's why they have a running clock in high school football after it's 35-0. And that's one of those games that, didn't need to be played, but they had it right from the start, and Westside looked really good.
And the big thing with Westside's defense, what was huge in this game, was huge in this one. To start off the first half, Westside only allowed, pushed back Benson. Benson had negative 41 total yards in the first half. They only ended up with 52 total yards at the end of the game. 2 safeties, both of them by Cole Hartman on that strong side, and they were 11 for 11 on third down stops. Benson struggled just all night long. And just this game was just outmatched. Although Westside does not really seem to put up in the yards column, it's because they had great field position all night. They only started off behind their own 50 3 times last Friday night up against Omaha Benson. This thing was way over from the get-go, and I think they really showed a big statement win, especially after coming off 2 weeks off.
Yeah, it really showed they were all rested up and ready for the game, and just really rode up some big points there against Benson. And heading into the playoffs, it's a good tune-up.
And Papio South, we'll see here tonight, is a familiar foe for these Warriors. September 24th, Westside took down Papio South in a big way. The passing game wasn't always as there, but the running game was where it showed off. Dominic Rizak, the big win to start off with. They continue to win. They continue to do well. Dominic Rizak, of course, like we said, a school record 308 yards on that night. That's a big reason why they're doing so well.
Yeah, it was a big game by Dominic. He set the school record that was held by Collins Okafor, who went on to play at the University of Nebraska, a very good running back. And Dominic is headed to the Air Force Academy next year, and he really put his name in the record books that night. He had 2 runs over 50 yards in that game for touchdowns. So we might see the same again tonight against the Titans.
It's going to be a big thing to see how Papio South can adjust. But looking at their last 5 games, Papio South, although it's not been dominant, they've somewhat struggled in their last 5 games against teams that they really should be able to at least really put themselves up to. We saw there the 35-8 loss to Omaha Burke, and the 30-7 loss up against Creighton Prep. The only reason Papio South is in this tournament currently is because they barely squeaked in to the A3 district final, or the A3 district number 2 spot. We talked really how bad the competition comparatively has been in the A6. The A3 was even worse. Only 1 team over 500 in that district.
Jaden, I've seen teams that come in the 15th and 16th seed, and they have come in and knocked off the higher seeds. So you have to be ready when the playoffs start. It's a new season for everybody when they come into the playoffs. And these teams, the record, everybody's is 0-0 right now.
And looking at these 2 teams, like we said, a really blank slate going forward. Westside offensively has been the biggest push. Can they really continue their offensive prowess at the line of scrimmage and allow Dominic Rizak to run wild when he needs to? Big thing to talk about as well, between Colby Brown and Anthony Rizak this season, they've only thrown 1 interception all season long. We couldn't even say that about Cole Payton last year with how dominant he even was. But, I mean, I don't know if it's the fact that the running game has been so much pressured this season, or really that both Rizak and Brown have been so selective in the throws.
It's been a balanced offensive attack. They really work each other out with the running game and the passing game so well. When you got a Rizak as a running back and you've got Colby Brown and Rizak, Anthony passing the ball, you got a good balanced offense, and that's very hard to defend.
We'll take another quick break here on the KB pregame show. Once we come back, the entrance for the Warriors. We'll get you some more breakdown of this matchup.
Boston, announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. May God be with you all.
Warrior fans, are you ready? Independence State champion!
The Warriors take the field in this one. Do or die for both of these teams. We're just seconds away from kickoff here at Phelps Field. And quickly, let's get into tonight's Viking Industrial Painting keys to the game. We're going to start off with Papillion South. Big thing to talk about tonight. Brady Fitzpatrick out for the second week in a row after tearing his ACL. Sophomore backup Sam Schuler is going to come in. Only has experience a little bit up against Creighton Prep as well as up against Omaha South last week. He's going to have a big night. Big thing as well defensively. They have to limit Dominic Rizak from finding open space, and they have to be able to find a way to stop Anthony Rizak from being able to find so many open holes. With his three-dimensional style of offense, you got to get him uncomfortable. You got to get him to force uncomfortable passes. For Westside, they got to push up front, make sure that Schuler feels uncomfortable all night long. The Dominic Rizak for them is going to be a big factor. The rushing game was huge last time they played up against Papillion South. They need to dominate up front. The offensive and defensive lines have been huge all season long. They look to continue to do it here tonight. Tristan Alvano will kick it away. It's pink out night here at Phelps Field for Red Shield and the Warriors. Class A state playoffs, and we're underway. Alvano will kick that back into the end zone, and Papillion South will start off at their own 20.
So important for the Warriors defense to set the tone early here, not let Papillion South get out to a lead here in this first quarter. So the Westside defense needs to step up just like they did a week ago against Benson.
Big thing tonight that we're going to look at, of course, backup Sam Schuler in for Papillion South. Last 2 weeks, 9 for 14, 153 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. We'll see if they can use him in the running game as well. Schuler will take it himself, looking at the flants on the near side. Isaac Richard able to be the first one on him, and it's a tackle for him. On the run, it was Jaden Collette. Collette we saw a lot in the first game for Papillion South up against the Warriors. Did suffer an injury in the third quarter, so he was limited in the back half of that one. We'll see what they can do here in the flants. I think it'll be interesting to see how Papillion South is going to be aggressive up against this really young Westside secondary.
Well, it looks like they want to try the pass. That's what they opened with here to start the game, maybe to try to get some balance here on offense.
Ian Medic and Stefan Ademi, going to be the ones that shot look in the passing game. And stuffed up at the line. Ball looked like it might have been out. They're still calling it, still trying to find the referee and what the call is. Cole Haberman looked to rip it out, but we'll say that the whistle was blown. And it'll be 3rd and 10.
Great penetration there by the Warriors. Really pushed the ball back about 3 or 4 yards.
Big first drive here for Papillion South. 3rd and 10 here. 13 seconds left now on the play clock. Trips out wide to the left. Getting loud here at Phelps Field. Warriors trying to get back to the Memorial Stadium. 3 wins the way to start the process here tonight. Cole Haberman able to get the tackle. And it'll be 4th down. for the Titans.
Good pursuit there by Haberman. He really put some pressure on the quarterback, and he didn't have anywhere to go on that play. And now it's a punting situation, and it's a good first series by the Warrior defense to stop Papio South on that first series.
Caleb Benning will be back deep.
Hayden Carlson on for the punt.
Line drive kick. Benning is pushed back. He'll grab it at their own 38. Might have been a block in the back call. They're not going to give it to him. Caleb Benning trying to find open space, and he'll be taken down at the Titan 46.
Good start for the Warriors there. Good field position in Papillion South territory there at the 47-yard line. Now we'll see with Rezac at quarterback how this Westside offense will perform here in the state playoffs on their opening drive of the game.
Rezac has not exactly had the opportunities to pass so much in the last 2 weeks. Of course, 2 weeks ago, a forfeit up against Omaha Bryan, 2 for 2 with 58 yards and 2 touchdowns. So pretty efficient up against Omaha Benson. They'll spread it out here. Rezac will give it out to Dominic near the outside, trying to find an open space, and will push forward and be down at the 42. It'll be about a 2nd and 5 on there in the tackle. It was Kobe Spire.
You're almost going to see Papio South spy on Dominic Rezac. You might remember the last 2 times these two teams met. Rezac rushed for a school record 308 yards, and Papio South is very knowledgeable of where he's going to be on the field all evening.
They'll bunch it up now. With Nielsen out to the right. Anthony, far side, nobody there. Miscommunication on the route. Looked like Cade reached the tight end, actually had motioned over. He was trying to go for a fade route out to the right side. Rezac thought he was going to post. Maybe 3rd and 6.
You got to get that communication right here when you're in the playoffs. Can't let plays like that just slip away. Now it's 3rd down and long.
Another high snap to Rezac. Like the Warriors might go for it.
Yeah, there's no sense in punting the ball down right here. You got to go for it. 4th and short.
Ten seconds left in the play clock. We'll see if they just want to try to get them off guard or offsides on defense. 3 out wide once again. Another high snap. Rezac, little slant to Avery Donnellinger, and it'll be a 1st down for the Warriors.
Great play there. Found the open man there about 10 yards downfield, just past the chains to get a 1st down. And the Warriors get marching right down the field here, down to the 31-yard line.
Avery Donnellinger has kind of been a mix between the number 2 and number 3 receiver for Anthony Rezac, as Rezac will hand it off. Dominic Rezac wide open out the middle. Big stiff arm, and he cut to the outside. Goodbye! Dominic Rezac, 31 yards, throws a man off them, and Westside scores on their first drive.
Very reminiscent of that game back in September when Rezac had 3 long runs for touchdowns, and the Warriors open and get on the scoreboard on their opening drive of the game. Just was 7:46 here in the first quarter, and he'll use the extra point.
Albano's PAT is up and good. But Dominic Rezac, I don't know what it is about these Titans, but he finds holes and he throws guys down with ease every single night. 308 yards last time up against the Titans, and he's already got 31 and a touchdown here tonight. We'll take a quick break here on WTV Live. Once we come back, Westside looking to continue to roll here in the playoffs. Quick touchdown drive for the Warriors. 7:46 left to go in this one, and Tristan Albano kicks in the back of the end zone. Dominic Rizak, been the story all season for these Warriors. The Air Force commit senior. There's a little bit of some senior night activities before this one, with the Omaha Bryant game originally being the senior night for this team. But I think he was such a big presence last year, but I think got overshadowed a little bit by Cole Payton, by Avante Dickerson, by Kobe Bretz. This year he has been the man and the biggest piece of this offense, and he is not slowing down whatsoever.
And he's the third-ranked leading rusher in the state of Nebraska with just over 1,000 yards, and he's really one of the top scorers in Class A too. He scored a lot of TDs this season.
Looks like Quillette out to the outside. It'll gain about 2. Papillion South last time up against Westside on September 17th. Didn't entirely struggle on offense. Brady Fitzpatrick in that one was 21 for 35 with a 217 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I remember Fitzpatrick gave him some trouble, and before he got injured, he was ranked 10th in the state in passing, so they lost a very good passer when he went down.
Schuler near side, near towards Isaac Richard. He'll throw him down. Quillette able to make the reception. Check that, Stephen Ademi. It'll be a 3rd and 5.
They're really picking on Isaac Richard. I do remember in that last game against Westside and Papillion South, Richard had a tough time with their receivers, especially their big tight end. That's Ian Medic, and he is 6'4". Look for him along the line, number 88.
I made this reference last time the Warriors played Medic and these Titans. Medic fits a lot like a Kyle Pitts, how he played at Florida. He can work in the slot, he can work blocking like a tight end, and he can fit himself the wide receiver anytime he needs it. Schuler, big hit! Jack Wimmer, lower the shoulder, my man!
Hello. Jack Wimmer just really nailed him, and that really said hello to Papillion South. Big hit, and that'll bring up 4th down.
So 2 straight 3 and outs for Papillion South. And Benning pushed back a little bit further, foot at the 41 of Westside. And a switch here, might see some fakes. 4th and 3 once again. You can see what Papillion South will do. Bunched up set, now we'll see if Ferrant wants to try to block this one. Now do a fake, working around to the far side, cut back in the middle, and they will not be able to get it. Westside's defense was prepared. Turnover on downs, and Westside is in the even better field position.
You can see the sideline, the coaches on defense and special teams. They're thrilled with the way they defended against that fake punt by Papillion South, and now it's a 1st down for Westside at the 25-yard line. They're in great shape, and we have a player down on the field.
We'll take a quick break here on WTV Live for the injury timeout. 5:31 left to go here in the first quarter. Westside knocking on the door once again.
Jackson McIntyre just left the game. He walked off the field. He was down. And now the Warriors are out at the 25-yard line. Rizak hands it off to his brother Dominic, and he goes over the right side for about 2 yards. That'll bring up second down and about 9 to go for the Warriors. The Warriors trying to follow up after 2 great defensive stands by the defense. The Warriors 3 and out, and then Papillion-La tried a fake punt, but the Warriors were alert and stopped it. And now they're in big business right here on the 25-yard line. Rizak takes a high snap but hands it off to his brother Dominic, and he goes over the right side for about 17 yards, all the way down to the 7-yard line of Papillion-La, and he's having another big night. You might remember his school record, 388 yards back in September. And he has followed that up here tonight, just really running the ball very well for the Warriors. The ground game is having a lot of success again on this Warrior team. That'll bring up 1st and 10 at the 8-yard line. 1st and goal. High snap again. And Rizak takes it himself and goes right up the middle for the touchdown. And the Warriors score their 2nd touchdown of the game. Anthony Rizak just kept the ball himself and went 7 yards up the middle. Hardly anybody touched him in the end zone. And the Warriors now back-to-back touchdowns. And here is the extra point by Tristan Alvano, who's had a great season on kickoffs, extra points, and field goals. And here's the extra point by Alvano. Good snap, and right through the uprights. And the Warriors take a 14-0 lead with 4:26 left in the first quarter. Westside out to a big start. You're watching Warrior TV, and we'll take a break right after this.
Dominic Rizak, if you've heard his name enough this season, 2 touchdowns and 2 drives. And Westside will be kicking it off once again. 4:26 left to go here in this first quarter. Jaden Quillette back deep for Papillion-La. Dominic, 65 yards tonight, 2 touchdowns, and Alvano boots that one out of the back of the end zone once again. And the Titans will start off at their own 20.
Warriors once again.
The Warriors really working that ground game to success. It worked so well for them the first time these two teams played. Over 350 yards rushing, 308 from Dominic Rizak. But I'll tell you what, everybody's throwing it in tonight, running the ball. And now Papillion-La will take over at the 20. Looks over to the sideline, Schuler changing the play. He's got 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, out of the shotgun. There's a snap. Looks over the middle. He's getting a lot of pursuit by the Warriors, and he's going to keep it himself, and a great tackle there by Conley along the sidelines.
Tommy Conley, once again, he has just been a menace at the linebacker position. I mentioned this earlier in this season, and I'll mention it again. I think last year, the main guy in that linebacker position that, for the lack of a better way to put it, was a little crazy, but a little good crazy, was Ben Radisha. This year, it's Tommy Conley. He has just been a piece that is not whatsoever scared or nervous or even pushed away from making a big hit. And he's made a couple big hits here tonight as Papillion South will take a timeout.
I was looking down there at him. Is he still playing with his cast? Has he finally gotten that thing off, or is he still playing with it?
5th game with a cast on. Up against, if I'm correct, actually Grand Island. Last time he played Grand Island, if I'm correct, I'll have to look at it. Tommy Connolly hurt both his shoulder and his wrist. It was one of his biggest games of the season nonetheless. Played through it. Afterwards, had a force to be put a cast on his arm and had some couple repairs to his shoulder. He's back and ready to go. But I think that one of the funniest thing, in my opinion, the coolest thing that I've seen, I'll make sure what game it was, but Tommy Connolly, if you go back in one of our streams, if I'm pretty sure it actually was that Grand Island game, I believe it was Miller North that he was hurt.
Yeah.
Grand Island game, Connolly, had a tipped interception off that thing, got a tip off the hand, and I still have to go back through that. That's something I'm gonna put on my reel, just because he's holding up the cast after he gets the tip, and I mean he's ecstatic after something like that. And you know, injuries or not, although we saw a lot of injuries up against Papillion South the last time these two teams played. Actually, Tommy Connolly, I'll correct myself, that was the last time. His team is fully healthy, and they got a lot of guys on both sides of the offense. Big run up the middle from Devin Jones. It'll be a gain of about 9. It'll be a third and about 3 or 4.
I remember Connolly was our player of the game, and he really stood out in that win, and really he's just one of those guys that seems to be wherever the ball is on defense. He just finds a way to get to the ball carrier and make the play.
Warriors trying to get their third straight third down stop on defense. Papillion South does not have a first down here tonight. Schuler steps back near side and will go too far of a Damie on the near side. Isaac Richard has been consistent all night long, especially struggling in a couple games this season.
Yeah, the Warrior defense has really set the tone early here. 3 and out on the first series, and then it was a 4 and out because they faked a punt, and now 3 and out again. For this Warrior defense. They've really done a super job tonight, and here we see it again, Papillion South in a punting formation.
Back deep is Benning.
Back deep is Damon Benning once again for the Warriors. The punt will just barely get off. Kurt Kubrich has gotten in the backfield a couple times this season, and Benning is hit. Before the ball gets to him, there'll be a flag. And Benning was lined up to possibly fair catch that one. And I can't see it. Looks like Damie was the one who contacted him.
Boy, the ball didn't even land on the ground, and Benning was hit the turf. He had gotten hit, and then the ball landed on the ground. He didn't have a chance for that ball, and the officials will make the call. All right, the Warriors will start again in Papillion South territory. This time it'll be from the 42-yard line. And Jaden, you can't argue about this field position in the first quarter for the Warriors.
3 straight drives now that Westside has started in Papillion-La Vista South territory. It's a good reason why they could end off this first quarter up 3 scores. High formation to the strong side. Slant over to Grant Guyette, able to make the catch. Push pass, Ademi, and great pass, another defender. And get down to the 22, and it's a Westside first down.
What a season he's had. He's ranked 7th in the state in receptions, and he is also tied for 2nd in touchdown receptions this year. He's just had a all-state season, Grant Guyette.
Guyette, 37 receptions on the year, 579 yards. And 10 touchdowns. He's been both Brown and now Rezak's number 1 wide receiver. You'll see motion there from Carter Hogan. Pitch out to Jamez Ross on the far side. He breaks through, find another open hole, and another first down for the Warriors. Jamez Ross, you have not seen him since week 2. Broke his hand in practice, was out for 7 weeks. Came back up against Benson last week, was actually our player of the game last week with 2 huge touchdowns, one for over 45 yards. We saw Ross a little bit last year up against Grand Island in the first round of the state playoffs, especially somewhat near in garbage time when Westside was up by a lot. But he had a touchdown himself on a couple shifty runs. He's a quick guy. Now Anthony Rezak on a design run, and he is going nowhere. He was thrown down to the ground hard, but he'll get up quickly.
Jamez Ross, only a sophomore, and he's got great acceleration. And he can, when he gets that ball, you can see him just hit the hole so quickly. And he's so dangerous with that speed of his, and just an explosive runner. And I hope we call his name a lot, because I like that name.
A big thing to think about, too, here for the Warriors, although Dominic Rezak has been the main running back all season long, the depth in the running back room is huge for this team. You start off with Rezak, of course. Jamez Ross was originally supposed to be the number 2. You also have Kurt Kubrich, who's, if you remember, probably 2 years ago, he's worked a little bit of like a Bodie Harrell role. He's just a man, doesn't quite work like a fullback, but it's just a downhill runner who's going to get you 4 or 5 yards when you need it.
Well, it always helps to have depth at the running back, because those are the guys that usually go down with an injury during the season. And when you've got a stable of running backs like that, that's a big plus for a team when you've got that much depth.
1:14 left to go here in this first quarter. Westside trying to pull ahead 3 scores. They'll bunch it out. They'll move it out wide now. Rezak across the middle to Grant Guyette. It will make a shifty move and will be taken down to the 3-yard line.
Oh, I could tell Grant wanted that end zone. You could just see. He was like, oh my gosh, I got the ball here about the 5. I got to get it into the end zone, and he was so close again.
4th and 2 now, and Westside will bring out, looks like a Wildcat formation now. 4th and 2 here. First down's at the 1. They'll give it to Rezak. Finds an open hole. He's going to try to push. Did he get there? I don't think he did.
It'll be really close. He got a good push on the left side, just enough, and they're going to mark it probably about 2.5 yards. But
it's turnover on downs. Papio South stops Westside on a 4th and 2 Wildcat play. Rezak tried to find an open hole, kind of got stopped by the back of a Papio South defensive lineman and was just about 1.5 feet short.
Well, that's a big play by the Titans, and that maybe that'll give them a lift right here. But they're going to start way back on the 2-yard line with their quarterbacks standing on the goal line. 2
safeties last week up against Benson for Westside. Might look for another one here. See if they go all-out blitz. And they'll even it up a little bit out of the far side. Ball is out. Ball's on the ground. Who's able to grab onto it? 3 or 4 guys to it. And Westside has it. A turnover on downs and then a turnover for Papio South. And what again? Westside with great field position.
What a play by the Warrior defense. I tell you, these guys are really playing well here tonight. They stop him, and they get the ball on a forced fumble, and now they have the ball at the 9-yard line, and they have really set up this Westside offense tonight in great field position with the defense that they're playing. Just a big play by the Warriors.
I'll have to check who that was. It looked like it was a linebacker. It looked like it might have been Kurt Kubrich on the far side. And Westside inside the 10 once again. They'll hand it off to Dominic Rezak, trying to push through, and he'll gain about 4 yards.
Yeah, after they stopped him on 4th down, I think the Warrior offense needs to make a statement here and show that they can really push that line of scrimmage, and maybe they can get a good push in the trenches. But they were stood up there by the Titans, and now it's the end of the first quarter, and the Warriors are in good shape.
End of the first quarter, Westside on the doorstep, up 14-0. It'll be 2nd and 6 when we come back.
with a lot of emotions when you hand the keys over to a new driver. We want you to buckle up, slow down, and please no texting while driving. Our family cares about your family, and your safety is our #1 priority. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit us at one of our 4 convenient locations or dingmans.com.
Anthony Rizak steps back. 2 guys in the pocket to try to work it around. Across the middle, that one will drop just short of Grant Guyette's feet. Starting out the second quarter here, Westside up 14-0. They're on the doorstep earlier. It was a 4th and 2 Wildcat position, set up for the Warriors. They were stopped about 2 feet of the 2-yard line. And the next play, Papillion South coughs it up. Now the Warriors here with a 3rd and goal. Well, hand it off to Dominic Rizak once again. He's not able to find anywhere. It'll bring up another 4th down in Papillion South. The red zone defense has been huge here in these last 2 drives.
Yeah, they've really done a good job up front, not getting pushed around by that Warrior offensive line. They've really gotten a big push, especially on the Warriors' left side. They've not allowed the Warriors to get into the end zone, and they've done an impressive job here down in the red zone.
So Westside once again will go 4 on 4th down. Strong side eye. Anthony Rizak can be taken in the backfield. Ball is out, picked up, and Dominic Rizak's able to take him down. Looks like it was number 37, Tyler Miller. Westside, right after forcing a fumble, gives one right back up to the Titans.
Well, that's not good news for the Warriors. They've had 2 big mistakes here inside the 10-yard line, and that is not a good sign there, something you do not want to do here in the playoffs.
Titans will come out quick. Spread it out wide, 4 wide receivers. Collette to the left of Schuler. Schuler will step back. Find far side, not able to find anything. He's going to roll it. And Cole Hartman with the tackle in the backfield. He is fired up after that one.
That was a great play by him. He was stood up for the first few seconds of the play, but he broke free from the lineman and then got to the passer, and it was a big loss there of about 13 yards on that play.
Second and 23 from the 21-yard line.
Now the Titans are in a big hole here, down about the 15-yard line.
Once again, 4 out wide to the left, to the right. And Schuler's going to try to run it himself, not able to find anything. Jack Wimmer on the tackle. And Papillion South now looks like it'll be a 3rd and 23.
The Warriors have really got Papillion South in a hole here, and this has been the tone all night by this Warrior defense. It's been the story. I mean, they've just been unable to put any yards against this Warrior defense. And as a matter of fact, it looks like this Westside defense has maybe pushed them back, and they might even have minus yards tonight.
5 wide here for Schuler. Set back, blitz coming near side. That one is dropped. Tommy Connolly was blitzing, as well as R.J. Gunderson to the near sideline, and Schuler decided to throw it and get it away from him.
Here we are with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter, and the Titans have yet to get a first down in this game. And Westside has just really shown what they can do on defense, and here we are in another punting situation for this Papio South team.
The Titans 6 total yards of offense here tonight, like you mentioned. Not a single first down. And Westside once again will look for an opportunity to start in Papio South territory. Kurt Kubert's not able to find any opportunity for a block there. Benning's pushed back to his own 45. Trying to get shifty. Far side. Opportunity now for Benning. 2 people on the near sideline. And it'll be taken down at the 30-yard line of the Titans. And Caleb Benning has been quick, has been shifty, and another good punt return there.
Yeah, it was a line drive punt. Enabled him to really get off the ball and really not allow Papio South to bring a lot of defenders downfield. There were only about 2 when he caught the ball. They found a big opening up the middle and then ran over the left side all the way down to the 29-yard line, or make that the 31-yard line of Papio South.
Benning last week up against Benson had a 65-yard kickoff return. It was technically a punt kickoff return after the safety in the first drive of the game. Also had 92 punt return yards and a touchdown. It's been mainly a defensive factor for the Warriors. You see a flag here on first down. Update over at Omaha Burke. Prep and Grand Island are underway as Burke took down Lincoln Southeast 21-3. It was a defensive battle. And next up, if the Warriors are able to win it here tonight, they'll say the Burke Bulldogs.
And they are always a dangerous team with Paul Lamongi as the head coach. You might remember a few years ago they won the state title. They've always got the potential to make that upset.
Run across the middle, be a gain of about 4 for Dominic Rizak. Another update around Class A, number 1 versus number 16, Millard South against Omaha North. Still the first quarter. Gage Stanger is connected in a fade pass to Jake Gassaway for the touchdown. Omaha North, although it's the 16 seed, there's been a lot of rumors that they could make some trouble for the Patriots. It's 14-7 for favor of Millard South right now. There's another run up they got there from Kurt Kubridge. Looks like it'll be for no gain.
Yeah, the Titans are doing a good job against the run right here, especially inside the red zone, but they're getting a lot tougher in the middle, and they're kind of winning the war in the trenches right now, and Westside hasn't been able to get much yardage on the ground since those first couple series.
Anthony Rizak will step back. Far side in the middle, wide open. Grant Guyette makes it 30 yards to the end zone. It's a 3-score ball game.
That's his 11th touchdown of the season. That ties him for the lead in Class A. Just a great receiver. He's having an all-state season, ranked 7th in the state in receptions, and Grant Guyette is that go-to receiver for the Warriors this season, and most of those catches, a third of them have been in the end zone.
Alvano with the PAT. It is good. Grant Guyette, 60 yards on the night, and they're a touchdown. And Westside leads it 21-0 with 8:17 left to go in the first half. second quarter here at Phelps Field, 8:17 left to go. Nice kick. Ademi will take it, go to the far side, trying to find a big block. Might have been a block in the back. An opening down for Papio South. Tristan Alvano, the only guy to get after him. There's a flag down at about the 15-yard line. There's another flag now flying in at the 45, and I definitely think this one's coming back.
Yeah, there was a clip on the far side of the field about the 20-yard line, and a Papio South blocker was riding the back of a Westside player for about 10, 15 yards, and the flags came out. That one's going to come way back, probably inside the 20 now.
It also looked like Tommy Connolly was thrown at about the 15-yard line from the back. It's a little hard to see all these players here tonight for Papio South with the white-on-white jerseys, but I believe it was Royson Skoderbo. I could be entirely wrong on the return.
Right. That's the climb. So a block in the back. Right. That's going to be half the distance to the goal. First down.
So Papio South, after really needing a big drive here in the second quarter, is going to be pushed even further back in their own territory.
And they have started so many of their possessions inside the 20-yard line, and they have yet to get a first down, and we'll see if they can get it this time. But they are stuck in a hole now on about the 6-yard line.
Big update to watch right now. Lincoln East, after getting blown out by Creighton Prep 52-7 last week, they're up ahead of Gretna 28-24. That could be a big upset game to watch. Two high-flying quarterbacks in that one, as a run up the gut here for Papio South to be a gain of about 5.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup. You had two of the best passers in Class A going against each other, and you knew it was going to be a shootout with those two quarterbacks. Walters for Lincoln East has had a great season, the leading passer in Class A, and he's trying hard to stick around in the playoffs.
Devin Jones there on the carry. He has 6 attempts for 14 yards. And they'll hand it off to Jones once again. He'll try to push at the line, be close to the first down, be about 1.5 yards short.
You know, the Titans just need a first down. They just need to get some confidence in their offense, but they have yet to sustain anything with these running plays. They get maybe 1 or 2, and then they get a loss, but they've really been frustrated on offense with their running game. They haven't been able to put anything together.
Big 3rd and 1 here for Papio South. Pistol set once again. Schuler will hand it off up the middle, cut out to the outside, and taken down. It looked like it'll be a first down. Jack Wimmer was on the tackle, and that one was Devin Jones once again.
And with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the first half, Papio South gets their first down of the game.
Another pistol set here. Too much movement. It looked like everybody moved except the center, but I always know that. The center's always right.
Yep. Little late on that one.
My hot chocolate to you.
And this just hurts the Titans so much. They get a first down, and now they get a penalty, and now it's first down and 15. This is the kind of stuff that really hurts you when you're trying to get something going on your offense.
The Warriors on offense have only started once here in their 6 drives, in their own territory. And Papio South desperately needing something on offense. They'll hand it off once again to Devin Jones, cut out to the outside. Ball is out once again. Caleb Benning will fall on it. 2 turnovers for Papio South. And the Titans running game has been just giving up the ball all around here tonight.
Another big break for the Warriors, but they forced that fumble there, kind of stripped it loose, and the ball landed loose about the 30-yard line, and the Warriors are in business again. They've had great field position all night, and again, they're starting this drive in Papio South territory on the 29-yard line.
We'll see who that was from I believe it was the nose tackle Ryan Zadiska, but I could be incorrect. Was definitely further in the secondary. I formation, Anthony Rizak will step back. Looking towards the near side, looks like there is a penalty flag. They'll give it off to Cade Reeser. He is hit hard by Kobe Spire. There's a flag in the backfield, behold, on the Warriors.
Warriors trying to open it up here a little bit with that 21-0 lead, throwing some passes because Papio South has been really stubborn in the trenches on defense, not allowed too many yards after those first two series, and the Warriors trying to open up this game now with a few more passes.
So it'll be a long 1st and 20 for the Warriors. 6:20 left to go here in this second quarter. Westside has just been dominant all around, has forced 2 different fumbles here tonight, and the Papio South as a whole only has 26 yards of offense compared to Westside's 150. Westside, like we've stated, have only been in their own territory to start off a drive once here tonight. They'll hand it off to John Mez-Ross. Back up across the middle, going to cut to the outside, trying to find an open hole, and it'll be down to the 32.
He has been impressive tonight. He has such breakaway speed, but over that right side, he followed his blocks and found an opening, and it was a good run of about 15 yards all the way down to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, 2nd and 9 here for Westside. Bunched up set now. Another high snap. That one's on the ground. Anthony Rizak is going to just have to fall on it, and he'll keep it for himself. Been high snaps all night long for the Warriors. Trace Marco's able to just tap him down back at about the 44-yard line.
Yeah, that was a concern in the first quarter. A lot of high snaps early in the game, and that one just got away from Westside, and Rizak was lucky to get that ball and get back on top of it on the 44-yard line. Jack
Wing, normally the starting center, was set up in the depth chart as a starting center here tonight. The backup, Nico Bitzes, as the one throwing it away, and Anthony Rizak's going to get away from a tackler. Throw to the near sideline. Was it caught? It was! Caleb Benning at the 29-yard line. Toe taps it in. We'll talk about Anthony Rizak. How do you get away from that one?
Well, I'll tell you what, he really eluded all the pass rushers on that one. Just kept fighting it along the near sideline and found a receiver along the sidelines and got it there all the way down to the 28-yard line, and they're still in business.
It looked like Aiden Bambi was the one that was trying to get a piece of Anthony Rizak. And here on 4th and 8, Tristan Albano will look for a 45-yard field goal. He's only missed one all season long. His high is from 47. Good snap, good hold, but that one is way too far left. Albano not happy with himself at all after that kick.
Yeah, that one is not indicative of what Tristan Albano has done this season. He's kicked some long field goals, but that one was just more or less a line drive wide to the left.
So Papio South will take over at the 19-yard line. It's been back and forth these last couple of drives. Each team has really just been kind of giving the ball up to the other.
Yeah, they've really have not been able to establish anything on offense. Papio South, again, they're stuck deep in their own territory now at the 20-yard line and just trying to get a first down.
4 wide pistol set, 3 out to the right. Schuler's going to keep it himself. Big hit, able to stay on his feet, but if he pushed back, be a gain of about 2.5.
Yeah, good defense there by the Warriors. Schuler just tried to scramble out of the pocket, trying to find something, but Westside was there to stop it. Only a gain of about 4 yards on that play.
Cool, chilly night for the first round of the playoffs. Westside up 21-0 if you're just joining us. This is a big first quarter for the Warriors. Papio South has struggled all night offensively. Flag is down near the line of scrimmage. There's a run up the middle. Looks like it was a gain of a 6 if it stands. Devin Jones, really the only piece of offense that we've seen from the Titans here tonight, and he's limping off the field a little bit.
Nice tackle there by Sean Williams, number 68. Big 6'2" senior there who came in and made the tackle. Some good defense there by the Warriors, and now they're going to push him back even farther.
It'll make it. So it'll be a 2nd and 16. There's a holding on the offensive line. The flag was near the tackle box on the west side, the defensive side. Now some switching at the defensive line for the Warriors. Blitz is coming. Schuler trying to roll out to the near side, trying to find an open wide receiver. Can't find anything. Going to throw it up and way too long and out of bounds.
Yeah, he couldn't find anything there. Great coverage by the Warriors downfield. He rolled out and kept looking for a receiver. Couldn't find anybody open and just kind of more or less threw it away.
Schuler, of course, the backup quarterback from Papillion-La Vista South. Brady Fitzpatrick out since the Creighton prep game, or the back end of the Creighton prep game 2 weeks ago. Schuler had a solid night up against Omaha South, although Omaha South has really struggled this season. It's probably a good starting night for Schuler to get his footing. It was his first varsity start. He's got a big contest to go up against here tonight, and it looks like there'll be a delay of game. Papillion South just cannot figure a way to find any kind of offense.
Yeah, that's just frustrating when you're a head coach and you can't get the snap off in time. And there is a 25-second clock that's out there on the field, but the quarterback's got to be aware of that when he's out there and get that ball snapped right away.
Schuler tonight 2 for 5 with just 5 yards of offense. Devin Jones does have 7 rushes for 32 yards. Has really been the only piece of life that the Papillion South offense has been able to find. Little screen pass, that one will fall. Loads of miscommunication once again. Jones was trying to work out to the right, but got tripped up by his own lineman. And it'll be a 4th and 21 for Papillion South, and they'll punt out of their own end zone for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, you might see the west side here with just over 3 minutes to go in this first half. Might go in for a block. Benning is out there about the 40-yard line. So the Warriors are going to get great field position no matter what on this play.
Back deep for the return, Caleb Benning.
There's a snap. The Warriors are working on a return, a low drive, and Benning takes it at the 48.
Benning is going to be a flag down at about the 49, but Benning's going to keep this one alive and be taken down at the 28. This one's definitely coming back.
Yeah, that'll push the Warriors back into their own territory, somewhere where they have not been tonight, folks. Westside has started every drive inside Papillion territory, and this will be different tonight.
Double block in the back. On red. It'll be red, first down.
Looks like it was a block in the back. Did not indicate who was on. There's 2 strikers, coming back for Westside. They'll start off at their own 42. It's actually the 2nd time tonight that they've started off in their own territory. First time was after the penalty flag on Caleb Benning, on Papillion South, for contacting Caleb Benning at about the 39-yard line earlier in the first quarter. And still some discussion here as Papillion South will take their first time out of the first half. 3:35 left to go here in this second quarter. Westside leading this one 21-0, looking to add on to their lead. the gut. Dominic Rizak going to cut out to the outside. He'll gain 11 yards. Sorry for the quick comeback here on WTV Live. Just over 3 minutes left to go here in this first half. Papio South just took, they'll call a timeout, at least on the scoreboard to Westside. I believe the timeout was to Papio South. The referee did call it to Papio South, but we'll go how the scoreboard reads here at Phelps Field. An I formation to the strong side here for the Warriors at the 50-yard line. But hand it off to Dominic Rizak. He'll be tripped up. It'll gain about a yard. But Papio South's defensive line has really got a lot of push up there, especially after a really struggling first quarter.
They're pretty stout. I'll tell you what, that's why Westside has decided to put the ball in the air on these last few series, because they have some big young men up front on that Papio defensive front line, and Westside's having a tough time pushing them out.
I formation once again, 10 seconds left on the play clock here on the 3rd and 1. Might have been early movement, but it'll be a QB sneak to Anthony Rizak, and Westside will move the chains.
Yeah, I think you got to do some clock management here. You don't want to give Papio South the ball here late in the first half, and I think you might run the ball a little more here, just kind of burn some clock.
Another low snap there. Been some odd snaps here tonight. Long pass caught by Carter Hogan. It would be a stiff arm at the 35. He'll jump down to the 32, And with under 2 minutes left to go here in this first half, a high throw from Rizak. He had to get it over a jumping linebacker. It looked like it was actually the cornerback Kobe Spire trying to rush on the near side to Rizak.
Carter did a really good job just keeping those defenders away.
Rizak will now step back. Near side to Grant Guyette. He's able to make the catch. Beautiful move. Jukes his ankles, and he's down to the 15.
Guyette, great move there. He's more than just a pass catcher. He does a lot once he gets the football, and he advances about 10 more yards after the reception.
I thought they'd have an injury timeout there. Kobe Spire right after having some pressure on Anthony Rizak. The play before was made look a little foolish against Grant Guyette. Another odd snap here. Rizak is just going to have to give it off to his brother and Dominic. Only be able to gain about 2. But if there's any piece of this Warrior team that has not been as stout here tonight, it's really been the play of the centers.
Yeah, they've had a tough time there in the middle, and it's been a concern in this game, but they've been able to work the ball to the outside and get some passes to advance the ball downfield.
Nico Bitz is the senior, has been playing center here so far. Pass across the middle, bosses him. Grant Guyette, second touchdown of the night with 58 seconds left to go in the half. And the Warriors an extra point away from leading by 28.
That's Grant Guyette's 12th touchdown of the season. Coming into this game, he was ranked second in the state in touchdown receptions, and 12 will give him the lead right now. The most touchdown receptions in Class A. Grant Guyette leading the Class A.
Multiple pieces of this team have been so big pieces around Class A as well as in the state of Nebraska. Of course, Grant Guyette, like you mentioned, the top of the touchdown lead is also top 5 now in receiving yards. Dominic Rizak, top 3 in rushing yards. Cole Hauptman has been a big guy for tackles, as well as Tommy Connolly. And Teddy Rizak, even earlier in this season when the secondary was getting a little bit more of action, he was at one point a top 10 tackler.
Guyette, I'll tell you what, he's going to make the All-State team. He is just a superb wide receiver. He does so much with the ball. He manages to get open, makes it easy for Anthony Rizak to find him. And earlier in the season, Colby Brown, that was his favorite receiver. But he does a nice job once he catches the ball. He advances the ball with a lot of yardage, has some nice moves, got great speed, but he's got great hands, and he's really having a night here in the opening round of the playoffs.
So we'll keep it going here. 58 seconds left until the end of the first half. Papio South, there's a time as any to put on a scoring drive. This is it. It's been all Warriors here tonight. Dominic Rizak with 2 rushing touchdowns and then 2 connections from Anthony Rizak to Grant Guyette. Guyette with 2 touchdowns has 5 receptions for 91 yards. Anthony Rizak is 8 for 11 with 130 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Also for Dominic, 76 yards rushing and those 2 touchdowns for him.
At the 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
Papillion South will start off this next drive at the 20-yard line. This is do or die, not just for this game, but for this season for Papillion South.
You just want to go to the locker room right now. I would just run the plays as much as you can because you really can't do much when you're that far deep in your own territory.
See how they want to run it. Head coach Clemenger will look to run once again up the middle. Be a gain of about 3. Caleb Benning on the tackle.
And there is a timeout on the field.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
So Westside now will actually take a timeout. Maybe Coach Freund is thinking to go up by even more here in this first half.
Well, I'm a little surprised by that. They do have 2 more timeouts left. Is that correct?
Yeah, so originally the scoreboard here, the first time out, we actually were correct. Papillion South did take that first time out. Scoreboard here at Phelps Field, I was very confused. I thought Papillion South definitely took that timeout. But both teams do have 2 timeouts left. And I think a big thing we talked about last year when this team was in this position, where it's playoff time, it's do or die either way, we didn't see any backups in that first game against Grand Island when they were up by 40+ in the 3rd quarter, really until about 5 minutes left to go in that 4th quarter. So I think Freund, although wants to have a lot of guys be able to play, it's playoff football. I don't think at this point, truthfully, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but the emphasis is to win big.
It is. This is big time right now, the state playoffs, and you want to play all the way, all through the entire game, not let up. And they'll call another timeout here with 44 seconds left.
Jack Wimmer was the first one on the tackle. We got kind of an audio feed down there from one of our camera people. They are looking to score to be able to get here. They want a quick drive, especially with how well Caleb Benning has been able to bring back a lot of punts here tonight. Benning has 65 yards of punt return after 3 different attempts. Was close to being able to get a touchdown. It was taken down about 17 yards short. With 44 seconds left here, it's a 3rd and 7. Does Clemenger have to be able to put a pass play up here?
Well, the only thing about that is you stop the clock if it's incomplete, so you don't want to pass the ball. You just more or less want to try to run it and then punt it away and hope your defense holds Westside and the clock runs out. So I look for Papillion South to run the ball here again.
Big thing to think about as well in high school football, clocks do stop when the chains are moving. 3rd and 7 here, Papillion South trying to force a first down and head to the locker room without any more Westside damage. Thought he might see some rushers. Westside will go back into coverage. Near side of the one's way thrown up. Easy catch for Teddy Rizak. Interception there to go to the far side. Huge hit by Bo Ryan. They'll call a flag. I don't know how they're going to call that a block in the back because that was right in the chest from Bo Ryan. We'll see who it was there. Looks like, yes, it was Ian Medic who was laid out by the sophomore in Ryan.
Yeah, there's a big conference out there on the field. You want to know if that was a severe hit there, but it looks like they're not going to call the penalty. Well, here we go.
We have a personal foul. Blindside hit. One way. It's going to be 15 yards from the spot of the foul. It's going to be first down.
Freund is discussing with the referee on the near side. Doesn't seem too mad, but he doesn't seem quite convinced. I did not see that one at all.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Ryan was coming straight at him. I mean,
Yeah.
he hit him straight, and it looked like his left pectoral. But, I mean, I don't see there being a blindside block on that call, but I think definitely with how severe that hit was, it might have sold it to a point.
Yeah, you don't want a personal foul that's going to get you tossed out of the game and maybe for the next game, too, in the playoffs. But that did not happen, luckily.
Papillion South with 3 turnovers. Colby Brown is in, and he'll be stuffed way back. The ball is on the ground. The whistles did blow, so looks like Colby Brown will fall on it. And they'll just let the clock run out. We thought we'd see Teddy Rezek. Do not know why he's not in for that play, but we'll bring in Colby Brown to let the clock run out here in the first half. What an odd end to this first half.
I'll tell you what, we thought they might have a chance to score here late in the first half, but that wasn't to be. You had a big hit, you had a penalty, and then you had almost a fumble, and luckily Westside landed on it.
It's the end of the first half. Westside will go into the locker room up 28-0. We'll take a quick break here on WTV Live. Once we come back, some more halftime action. We'll go a little bit over this first half.
Moment with a lot of emotions when you hand the keys over to a new driver. We want you to buckle up, slow down, and please no texting while driving. Our family cares about your family, and your safety is our #1 priority. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit us at one of our 4 convenient locations or dingmans.com.
28-0 as we're just 2 minutes away from the start of the second half. As we had a friend from KTV, I feel a friend of yours, Ross, readily come up behind us. That freaked the living Jesus out of me. Let's not have that happen again. That's going on the blooper reel for the year. Wow. 28-0 in favor of the Warriors. Like we said, just under 2 minutes away from the start of this third quarter. Westside is just dominating these Titans so far here tonight. It's been all about Grant Guyette. Guyette, 5 receptions, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Anthony Rizak has found himself rolling around and rumbling around in the backfield. Has found his favorite wide receiver in Guyette a lot tonight.
Well, Guyette has found his way to the end zone. He's really found the open spots. And once he's caught the ball, he's made it to the end zone, and he's just done a really good job just trying to find that open spot in the secondary, and he's done a great job. And now he leads Class A with 12 touchdown receptions this season. He's just having an all-state career for him, and I'm just really impressed with the way he's playing tonight.
So although Westside has been dominating this one, it's been a crazy night around Class A. Some updates that we want to give to you, if not already been able to see on our lower third, or excuse me, bottom line. Gretna is up 52-42 over Lincoln East. Lincoln East was making it interesting, but it looks like now Gretna will be able to pull away and move on to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, Gretna is one of those teams that is very dangerous. With Flores at quarterback, they can put up a lot of points in a game, and anybody who faces them in the playoffs is going to have a tough time just stopping their offense the way they play. But Gretna is a team to watch.
Another thing to talk about as well, second quarter right now, Grand Island is holding it in with Omaha Creighton Prep. It's a 13-10 lead for Prep. They just scored about 10 minutes ago. Jack Stessman, that running game for Prep's been huge all season. One night it's Stessman, one night it's Shamar Brown. But either way, they've been big all season long.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised with that score because Creighton Prep was on a roll heading into the playoffs, and a lot of people were looking at them as the hottest team coming in, the way they've played the second half of the season, and they've looked really strong. But I'll tell you what, when the playoffs start, it's a whole new season, and North Platte is fighting their way, and so far they're surviving in this opening round of the playoffs.
And a big thing, I guess, something to think about for Creighton Prep. Although the rushing game has been huge all season, they have been a team that has just continued to grow week by week by week, especially when we first saw them up against Westside. This is an entirely different team from what they were then to what they are now. And here, what do you feel for them is the biggest way they can find themselves possibly into the state title game or even the state semis?
Well, they just need to really play defense. I think that is the key opponent for a team when they get to the postseason, that your defense really has to play well and, force some turnovers along the way. And it's always just a little luck that gets you to that state championship game down at Memorial Stadium. I've watched teams through the years, and that's what got them all the way down to Lincoln. And here we are at the opening kickoff, and it goes out of bounds.
Westside, once again, will start off with good field position. They only had 2 different times in the first half to where they started off even in their own territory, and both times it was at least from the 40-yard or further. So coming here into the second half, we saw Kobe Brown maybe try to put that 2-minute drill, but was sacked and taken down way far in the backfield.
Taking out the 15-yard penalty, will set the
and looking here, it seems like they'll bring out Anthony Rizak once again.
Yeah, they're just going to start the second half just the way they started the first one. And we'll have Anthony in there at quarterback, and they'll probably just try to run the ball here to start out and see how they do.
High formation to the strong side. Dominic Rizak tripped up, but able to fall for about a gain of 3. It'll be a 2nd and 7.
It'll be interesting to see how Westside starts the second half, whether they try to score quickly here, work the ball on the ground, or maybe throw the long pass. We'll see what Coach Brent Freud decides to do.
Hand it off once again to Dominic Rizak, trying to find a couple open holes. And is able to gain about 4, so it'll be a short third down situation here for the Warriors.
You know, Jaden, this is a completely different game than the one we saw back in September. It was Dominic Rizak right, Dominic Rizak left, Dominic Rizak up the middle for 308 yards. And he really hasn't, with the exception of that first touchdown he had on the opening possession, they pretty much kept him in check.
Pitch out to the left. Dominic Rizak, open hole, trying to find big push down. Will be down to the Papio South 45. And although a somewhat slow second quarter, Dominic Rizak finally able to find some more explosiveness in the open field.
He is just a tough runner. I'll tell you what. He makes that first hit on the defender, and it takes a while, a few yards downfield to get him down.
We'll hand it off to Rizak once again. Big push at the line for Papio South, and they stuff him about a gain of a yard. That should be a gain of 2. It'll be a 2nd and 8.
Again, Papio South, very tough in the middle of their defensive line. They've got some big bodies up there, and Westside has not been able to really move them out of that front center right there.
Anthony Rizak will step back. We'll have to roll to the far side. No holding call. Now near to Grant Guyette. He is tugged. And it looks like there'll be either a holding call on Papio South or a pass interference.
Yeah, it looks like it's on Papio South, and we'll get the ruling here from the official. They're conferring right now at midfield. And here's the call.
The defensive hold on White. It's going to be 10 yards from the previous spot. It's going to be a first down.
She had a 10-yard penalty, Papio South tonight. 5 penalties for 50 yards. Westside, 4 penalties for 40 yards. Warriors trying to start off another drive. Biggest 2 pieces tonight for the Warriors have been the Rizak brothers plus Grant Guyette. Anthony Rizak 8 for 11 on the night, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, both were to Grant Guyette. Jamez Ross now coming in, he'll gain about 2.
That's a great 1-2 punch with Rizak and Ross, the 2 running backs, both with great speed. Just an explosive burst that Ross has out of the backfield, and Rizak has that power runner. It's a great 1-2 punch for the Warriors.
Ross tonight, 30 yards, and a pass across the middle. Grant Guyette, GG3 makes it number 3. 34-0 in favor of the Warriors, and Grant Guyette has loved the little routes across the seam.
I'll tell you what, that little post pattern over the middle has just been gold for him in this game. That's his 3rd touchdown reception of the evening. Grant Guyette is just having one of the best games of his career tonight, and he couldn't have picked a better time to have it than the opening round of the state playoffs.
Tristan Alvano now for the PAT. And it's up and good. Westside, 3 touchdowns between Anthony Rizak and his connection to Grant Guyette. Westside, a beautiful start to the 3rd quarter. We'll head to break. It's 35-0. Nothing in favor of the Warriors. A quick drive there for Westside. 7 plays, and it ended off with a 29-yard pass play from Anthony Rezat to Grant Guyette. Guyette, 120 yards on the night, 3 touchdowns as Tristan Alvano puts this one into the end zone once again, and the Titans will start off at their own 20. Papio South tonight, we have listed here just 2 first downs on the evening. Westside with 14, only 34 total yards of offense for the Titans. And although their starting quarterback is out in Brady Fitzpatrick, I don't think that's been the only reason they've struggled so much here in this one.
Well, it really shut their passing game down when he went out. Fitzpatrick was ranked 10th in the state in passing, and that really hurts when you lose an arm like that in your offense. But, they're just trying to do what they can here, trying to get some offense. Only had 2 first downs so far in this game. They didn't get their first down until about 6 minutes left in the second quarter.
Fitzpatrick, although Westside really controlled the tempo all night in that first matchup on September 17th, Fitzpatrick had 217 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, was 21 for 35 on the night. And with a sophomore and only his second starting job of the year, at only 5'9", 150, he has struggled as there was a huge hit there. But an incompletion, and it'll be another long third down here for the Titans.
Yeah, I do remember that game against Papio South. Westside had at least 2 or 3 long passes where the secondary had trouble finding the ball in the air, and Papio South was able to catch the ball and score the touchdowns. And one thing I'm really surprised tonight that they have not been able to get the ball to their big tight end, Ian Medic. He's just been nowhere out there on the field.
Near side to Ademi. He'll pick up 5 to about a 4th and I think about 4.5. And it looks like Papio South isn't interested in keeping this drive alive. They'll look to punt it away.
And we've got that running clock now, and time is just flying by here in the third quarter, approaching the 7-minute mark with a 35-0 lead for the Warriors.
High snap there. Caleb Benning will let this one go out of bounds, and Westside will start off. It looks like the market at the Papio South, it'll be the Westside 48. And once again, the Warriors in great field position. 7:09 left to go here in the third quarter. We'll take a quick break. I formation, there'll be a flag. Looked like there was some movement at the offensive line.
Here's the call. It was illegal participation by Papio South, and that'll move the ball 5 more yards for the Warriors now in Papio South territory at the 48-yard line.
First and 5 now from the 48-yard line of the Titans.
High formation, the strong side once again. Ball's on the ground, and John Mez Cross going to pick it up, and that was open space, far side. Now they're on the sideline. There's a flag on the field. He'll be pushed out at the 18. What an odd play. Colby Brown was under center. It was an odd snap. Ball was on the ground. Ross was quick enough to grab it and said goodbye. 20 yards, but there'll be a flag, and it'll be holding on the west side.
Well, that was a bizarre play, to say the least. The ball went down on the ground. There was a big scramble for it, and then Ross picked it up and made a big gain out of it, about 20 yards. There was a flag on the play.
Did not quite hear the call. They called the penalty on the west side. Looks like it must have been during the play, so they give west side a 1st and 10 at the 40. Quick now set here for the Warriors, I formation. Now a good be a rush up the middle. Another odd play. Colby Brown is having a troubling time handling the snaps. It looks like Anthony Rezak tonight might be done. But Nico Bitts is still at the center position. He has struggled a lot here tonight. We've seen a lot of high snaps, 2 different fumbles. Excuse me, 3 different fumbles. And they'll give it off to Colby Brown here. Across the middle to Carter Hogue is able to make the play. It'd be a gain of about 9. They'll bring up a 3rd and short.
You know, when Colby Brown comes in the game at quarterback, that's not a real big drop-off in talent when you've got 2 great quarterbacks in Brown and Rezak. And of course, Brown is one of the better throwers here in the Metro Conference.
Brown, the last game that Brown actually started was the last time Westside took on Papio South. Had a struggling first quarter, but really heated up in the second and third, but the running games weren't all put together. Now Jamez Ross now in open space near the far sideline, breaks the tackle, is into the end zone. Jamez Ross, the shifty sophomore, 30 yards out of the far sideline. Westside is rolling.
I'll tell you what, Jaden, I am really impressed with Jamez Ross. He is that explosive runner that Westside has with Rezak and Ross. It's a great 1-2 punch, but he's got some speed to the outside and some explosiveness that is really hard to stop. And I'm telling you, that really has been a big plus for this Warrior ground game tonight.
High snap once again, PAT is up and good. Westside with 3:38 left to go here in this third quarter. It's 42-0 in favor of the Warriors as the running clock continues.
You know, Jaden, we've looked at a lot of scores around the Metro in the state playoffs tonight. You know what?
.38 left to go here in this third quarter. Westside is blowing out Papio South. A big 30-yard rushing play from Jamez Ross. And man, this sophomore class is something to talk about.
I'm telling you, there's some talent there. You know, Westside has been in the state championship game the last 2 years and possibly this year. They could be on a long, long run the way they've got so much talent on this team.
Westside's freshman class last year, now sophomores, were the cream of the crop. 12-0 on the season. We actually got to stream one of those games here on WTV Live. The de facto freshman state championship last year up against Miller South. And Jamez Ross was our player of the game. It was an odd game back and forth. Miller South started off quick, but then the running game, and specifically Jamez, just continued to find open holes, was shifty like we've seen here. I think we haven't been able to spotlight Ross so much because he's been out for 8 weeks.
Yeah, I think we found out how good he really can be. And when other teams see the film of this game and look at it, they're going to go, well, where's this guy been? And how are we going to stop him? And if Rezak's out there too, how are we going to stop him? But when you've got 2 running backs like that, it's really hard for opponents to stop.
The sophomore class for the Warriors is just filled with depth. Already starters, of course, Teddy Rizak and Anthony Rizak, the two twins. Anthony, the quarterback, Teddy, the the defensive back. Also works as about a fourth or fifth wide receiver for the Warriors. Bo Ryan's been a huge force at the linebacking spot. We've seen John Mez a lot. Two different sophomores at the offensive line. Jack Wing, we haven't really seen a lot tonight, has been big. Seen the junior R.J. Eckert. A lot of youth on this team, but I think that really sets this team up for the future.
And the other thing is, when you see this score 42-0, late in the third quarter, and other teams and coaches see this score, they're going to say, with a 21-game winning streak going on, this Westside team looks like they've got that talent to make it all the way down to Memorial Stadium. They're going to be hard to stop because if you look around the scoreboard in the state playoffs in the opening round, there's a lot of teams that are having trouble tonight.
Papio South will take a timeout, and we'll keep it here on WTV Live, but some updates around Class A. Papillion-La Vista is struggling up against the mighty heavy number 3 seed in Bellevue West. Bellevue West currently up 42-20 with 7:40 left to go in the third quarter. Lincoln East was unable to pull off the upset up against Gretna. Gretna is able to just barely pull it out 52-41. A big win for the Dragons as they'll move on to the second round. But the biggest story to watch here tonight, if you have not seen anything on Millard South Media, it's a 7-point game, the number 1 versus number 16 spot. Omaha North is sticking in there with the Patriots.
Well, they've got a head coach who's won some state titles in Larry Martin, and Larry gets his guys together. They started off the season really slow, but they've won 4 games in a row heading into the playoffs. And, as a 16th seed, that was a tough draw for Millard South to have in the opening round of the playoffs when you're going to play Omaha North, who's, just trying to survive in the playoffs. And Millard South has dominated competition all season long, but I'm telling you what, the Vikings are a team to watch, and we'll keep an eye on that score later tonight.
Warriors defense comes up once again. It's a turnover on downs, and Westside, for the 5th time tonight, will start off their drive inside the Papio South 35.
Yeah, the Warriors have really forced a lot of turnovers tonight, done a good job on defense, and that has really helped this offense get great field position all evening long. And we'll see what Colby Brown can do as he comes in for another series here after throwing that touchdown pass to Guyette.
Still a lot of starters here for the Warriors on offense. Colby Brown will hand it out to Kurt Kubrich up the middle. It'll be a gain of about 4. It'll be a 2nd and 6 for the Warriors as we're headed to just over a minute left to go here in the third quarter. 1, at most 2 plays until we head to the fourth quarter of this one. Of course, the winner of this one which is likely to see right now to be Westside, will go up against Omaha Burke next week. It'll be a 7 o'clock game. If Westside's able to continue this lead and end this one, as a run up the middle from Dominic Rizak will be close to the first down marker. I think they'll spot him just barely short, so it'll be a 3rd and about a yard. Of course, Burke had the 4:30 matchup at Burke up against Lincoln Southeast. They will take down the Knights 21-3. Creighton Prep and Grand Island are going back and forth now at Omaha Burke. Creighton Prep, like we talked about, is going to be a team that might give Bellevue West a run for the money. They're able to take down Grand Island this week.
Yeah, they're a different team than the one that faced Westside in the opening week of the tournament. They've done a really good job. And Colby Brown looks around, changes the play, and that's the end of the quarter. And Westside leads by a score of 42-0 here. And we'll be back for the fourth quarter right after this timeout on WTV.
back here to start off the fourth quarter. Yeah, pitch out to John Mez-Ross on the far side, trying to get to the corner, breaks a tackle, back into the near side, trying to keep himself on his feet. It'll be a first down for the Warriors, and looks like Ross bringing it out to about the 11-yard line, so it'll still be a 1st and 10. The Warriors once again on the doorstep of making this a 49-0 game. Run up to the gut once again to Ross. He stripped up, but will gain about 3.
I think right about now, Westside's just going to be very conservative with a 42-0 lead. Just kind of try to grind it out here, run some clock. Of course, we're on the running clock with a 42-0 lead. The clock just runs regardless.
So it is a final at Lincoln East Gretna. Gretna takes down Lincoln East 59-42. It's a high-flying game for both teams. Two of the top quarterbacks in the state, Noah Walters and Zane Flores. Pass across the middle. Did Grant Guyette get it? He did! A diving play. What a pinpoint throw across the middle. And Grant Guyette, if I'm correct, with his fourth touchdown of the night.
I think that might be a record, or at least ties a record here at the school. 4th touchdown reception of the evening. That's the 14th that Guyette has made this season in the end zone. He's just having a memorable night that he's not going to forget.
PAT is good. And Westside just continues to pour it on here, up 49-0. 10:34 left to go here in this fourth quarter. Grant Guyette with his 4th touchdown of the night. Grant Guyette tonight, 7 receptions, 130 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's the leading candidate for tonight's Time 42 Player of the Game. And after a running attack type night up against Omaha Benson last week, the Warriors have poured it on these Titans here in this one. And it's really been both pieces of the offense.
Well, I think haven't quite seen a night like this. Even Avante Dickerson, who was one of the top receivers in Westside history, never had a night like this where 4 touchdown passes. But, this is really something if you look back at it. He's really having quite the night.
The Warriors tonight, like we said, pretty even comparatively between passing and rushing. 178 passing yards, 186 rushing yards. The Titans, the story of the night is how much they've struggled on offense. Only 48 total yards of offense, 9 total passing yards, and Sam Schuler, the backup for these Titans, has struggled all night long.
Yeah, Devin Jones is one of the top running backs in Class A, and he has really not had any type of night here that was successful, and Westside just really stopped him, and Papillion-La South's been unable to have any type of passing game tonight. They've really struggled. Of course, Schuler is not known as one of the better passers in the Metro, and he's just really struggled against this Westside team. But they have been unable to get any type of ground game, and that's been the story. But you got to also give credit to Westside's defense. They played very well tonight, forced a lot of turnovers, and they're a big reason why Papio South hasn't been able to have much offense tonight.
2 forced fumbles and an interception. We believe the 2 forced fumbles, one was from Jack Wimmer. We believe the other was from Tommy Connolly. We have to make sure that once we get the final stats here tonight. Teddy Rezak with the 1 interception with about 40 seconds left to go. And Bo Ryan had a huge hit on the return. But that hit was called a block in the back and kind of ended any kind of opportunity for the Warriors to score at halftime.
Yeah, that was a scary hit. I thought somebody might be really seriously hurt on that. But and I thought he might be ejected from the game because it was such a vicious hit. But it was legal, and it was just a personal foul. And nobody got taken out of the game. And luckily, nobody was hurt on the play either. But that was just one vicious hit that we saw earlier in the game, and just fortunate that no one got seriously hurt on that play.
Ian Medic was the one who was hit on that play. He has been very quiet tonight. We saw he was Fitzpatrick's main wide receiver in Westside's matchup on September 17th. Fitzpatrick, although thought to be not as big of a piece with how Devin Jones has ran this year, has been a huge miss these past 2 weeks for the Titans.
Yeah, Westside will confer here along the sidelines. Got a little break in the action.
So I think going forward for this Warrior team, there's not a lot of things to be any kind of worried about. But there's so many top teams that we've seen here in Class A that can be very dangerous. Burke can be a team that can linger around but has not been able to find themselves consistently up against top 10 teams this season. They got blown out up against Bellevue West. They got blown out against Cam Kojal and a backup in Millard South from Gage Stenger. Does Burke really have any kind of way to match up to this Westside team?
Well, they've got a pretty good running back who's headed out to Oregon. Devin Jackson, the fastest runner in the state gold medal champion in the 100 and 200 meters. So they've got a running back, and they've got a head coach who's one of the best in Class A, who just won a state title just a few years ago. So don't count out the Bulldogs. They've got some stuff back there. But a great defensive play there by the Warriors.
Tommy Connolly able to get the sack in the backfield. Talked about him so much this season. This linebacking core has been a quarterback's nightmare all season long, and especially for Schuler here tonight.
Tommy Connolly, one of those guys that just seems to find out where the ball is on about every play and can make the big play for the Warriors. And we've seen interceptions by him this season, a lot of tackles for losses, just a great defensive leader for that Warrior defense.
Benning once again back deep. He'll be pushed back to the west side 45, trying to find an opening, breaks the tackle, now trying to go to the far side, taken down with a big hit at the Titans 39. And it sounds like a broken record. West side once again with great field position.
Yeah, we'll see if the Warriors kind of cool the Jets here and just kind of run the ball out here with under 7 minutes to go in the game, or if they try to go to the end zone and put up some more points on the board. We'll see how this will go, but it's been the Warriors all night on offense and defense tonight. Of course, if you're just joining us, the big story of the game was senior Grant Guyette, who's headed to Minnesota State, has caught 4 touchdown passes, 3 from Anthony Rezak and 1 on the last touchdown by Colby Brown. So here we go again with the Warriors on offense.
Jamez Ross, shifty once again, will gain 4. But you talked about this, I know there's been a phrase you said a lot. A good problem for these Warriors is having Colby Brown as a backup. Although it was the start of the season, as the senior, was the main backup last year to Cole Payton. Was taken out after being a little bit less explosive as Frank really wanted. And Anthony Rezak has come in, but we've seen in a lot of their opportunities when Brown has been able to come in, he's really been a really good pinpoint quarterback.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his passing. I mean, he's got a nice stroke with his passing arm, just really good. But Anthony might be, give him that extra dimension on the ground game. He can scramble and he can run the ball really well. Colby is just a tremendous passer, and it's been a good problem to have for head coach Brett Freund that he has to choose between two talented players to be his main quarterback.
Anthony Rizak will end his night 9 for 12, 159 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colby Brown's been efficient in his opportunities, 2 for 2 on the night, 19 yards. And the pass to Grant Guyette. This one's behind Colby Brown. The Jamez Ross was unable to really pick it up too well, so it'll be about a loss of 7.
Yeah, that was considered a lateral, not a fumble or anything on the play. That was a lateral because he was behind Brown on the pass, and the ball goes out of bounds, and we've got a punting situation for Westside right here. Something we haven't seen tonight, Jaden, a punt by the Warriors.
If I'm correct, I don't think we've seen one in 2 nights.
Well, that's true. Against Benson, they didn't have one either.
Technically 3 weeks if we want to count Brian as a game. Dylan McKee will come on to punt. A line drive rugby kick will give a little bit of a Titan roll, and if I sound like a broken record once again, Papio South was very bad field position.
They've been stuck down there in about the inside the 20-yard line about all evening. They just haven't been able to generate any type of offense tonight, and the Warriors have stuck them way back down there inside the 10-yard line. Sometimes they've had to punt out of the end zone. It's just been a real struggle for them on offense tonight.
The Titans just 44 yards on the evening. They have not passed the 50-yard line tonight. Run up the middle, going nowhere. Westside's defensive line has been such an underrated piece of this team, and they continue to stop any kind of momentum from Devin Jones.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought that Jones was going to be the workhorse for this Papio South offense tonight, and a runner who ranks in the top 10 in the state, but hasn't been able to show anything tonight against this very stout Westside defense that has really just put a hammer down on this Papio South offense.
Run out to the far side, maybe some offense here for Papio South. A lot of backups in now for the Warriors. On the far side, looked like it was a tackle by number 86, J.D. Strecker.
Well, Jaden, we have to decide on our player of the game. Is there any doubt about who our player of the game is tonight?
Never want to give it away too early, Ross.
Well, we're at the two.
If you watch here, I think you know who it is. Grant Guyette, an amazing night to be his second time 42 player of the game. And if he stays out tonight for the rest of this one, he'll end his night with 7 receptions, 130 yards, 18.6 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. And Papio South once again will punt it away near their own end zone.
Yeah, I can't even remember when Cole Payton was at quarterback that he had a receiver who had a night like this. The closest would be Avante Dickerson, but I don't even think Avante had 4 touchdown receptions in a game. I mean, this is really something that you haven't seen from a Westside wide receiver in a long time.
Avante Dickerson, the most he's had in a game is 3. It was against Norfolk last season. Overall, Dickerson had 5 touchdowns on the night, a pick 6 and a punt return. It was a big night out at Norfolk. It was a fun game to string, a long drive out there, and Westside has put it on all night long. As there are 40 seconds left to go, and this one as the running clock continues. Quickly before we end this one, we'll get you guys the Dunkin Trivia Question. Allow you guys some time to put this one up. Westside scored 39 points in the first 10 minutes against Benson last week. When was the last time the Warriors scored 40-plus points in the first quarter? It'll be victory formation for the Warriors, and Colby Brown will end it here tonight. Westside is moving on to the second round. They'll play Omaha Burke at Phelps Field next Friday here on WTV Live.
Just a great win by the Warriors tonight to kick off the state playoffs. You want to go in all business and try to get a winning start in the playoffs. And this was not only a winning start, it was an impressive start. 49 points and a shutout by this Warrior defense. Just a great win by Westside.
Just the second shutout of the season for the Warriors. Their first one being up against Norfolk the last time they played here. Westside offense has been big here tonight, though they've been big all season. The defense, once again, having a wonderful night and keeping the Titans from any kind of offensive momentum. Like we said earlier, Papillion South not once in this game got past the 50-yard line. If I'm correct, I don't believe they even got past the 40.
Yeah, they struggled from the very start. They didn't get a first down until 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Westside's defense was just spectacular tonight. They really didn't allow any big plays by Papillion South, and just a really strong performance, an impressive performance that hopefully they'll carry all the way through the playoffs to get down to Memorial Stadium. But there's not much you can find wrong with this team, the way they played tonight. Just a few fumbles, that was about it. But they were able to recover from those, and they'll move on to the quarterfinals 1 week from tonight when they host Burke here at Phelps Field.
Still two other games going on in Class A. Creighton Prep ahead of Grand Island. Millard South has pulled out to 14 over Omaha North, 35-21 there. But a big win for Westside. They go up against Omaha Burke. We talked about the running game for the Bulldogs. Both these teams that we'll see next week have deep rushing attacks. Is the passing attack in the secondary what's going to differentiate one team from the other?
Well, I can tell you one thing, that Paul Lamanji, the head coach at Omaha Burke, is going to put maybe one or two guys on Grant Guyette. And they've got to find a way to stop him, because he has shown tonight what a lot of people have not done this season, and he's had a spectacular season, and it was at a high point tonight with 4 touchdown receptions.
So a big thing as well, we talked about how Colby Brown has come in as a really solid backer for this team. There's really 2 guys they can work with. I think when we first thought to start off this season, or at least what originally was the game plan for these two, was maybe a gadget formation in Anthony Rizak. Anthony Rizak has taken over this quarterback spot and solidified it. Is there any possibility that we could see these two get a different playing time, or see any kind of gadget playing time next week going forward?
I think they might have something worked out later that they don't want to show, maybe in the quarterfinals, semifinals, or possibly even the championship game. But they've got a problem that every coach in the state would love to have when you've got 2 talented quarterbacks and both very good passers.
Westside is moving on to the second round of the Class A state playoffs. A 49-0 win over Papillion South. We'll take a quick break here on WTV Live. We'll be back with our Time 42 player of the game, Grant Guyette.
Somebody go get him.
with a lot of emotions when you hand the keys over to a new driver. We want you to buckle up, slow down, and please no texting while driving. Our family cares about your family, and your safety is our #1 priority. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit us at one of our 4 convenient locations or dingmans.com.
Hi again, everyone. This is Ross Jernstrom at Phelps Stadium, Phelps Field, where Westside defeated Papillion South by the score of 49-0. The big story of this game was senior Grant Guyette. What a game he had. 4 touchdown receptions. He finished the night with 7 receptions for 130 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just a spectacular game, and he is our player of the game. And joining us right now with Jaden Taylor is Grant Guyette. Jaden.
All right, so Grant, it's amazing that all around. The most feeling good, but it all starts with the play call. Our offensive coordinator did a great job of putting me in a position to make plays, and I just went out there and did what I know how to do, just run routes and try with Anthony throwing great passes.
So kind of with that, when you touch on to kind of working in that middle of the season in the field, has that really worked for you this season, or has it been how well you've been able to get off the ball?
Yeah, it's starting to work out because first time we played this team, I lined up outside and they doubled me over the top. So Coach Okora came up with a plan to in the slot and see how they line up. And they line up one-on-one. And so he knew the middle of the field was open to this football all over the field.
22 straight wins for this Westside team. When you're going against Omaha Burke in their home game next week, what's going to be the biggest piece to see next week against the Bulldogs?
Just keep working on what we do best. And take every practice like it's our last and work on winning the next week.
All right, so thinking as well for this team, the sophomore can use that in the season. You guys are doing very well. This entire sophomore class has been so good as well as your senior class. How do you feel you connect to the class, and how do you feel you guys are able to have a lot of good communication, especially down on the side?
Anthony's a baller, and once he stepped in the position, we start working and getting our timing down. We started practice and the extra reps, and he's just showing really well.
22 straight wins, final question here. 22 straight wins for this team. Getting through your journey to the state title game once again, if you guys make it through the third straight year that's in the state title game. Just the first time this school has ever done that. Getting the state title game, what would that mean?
It means a lot. Everyone has a dream of getting the state title and coming out and winning the last one, so it means a lot. And once again, we just got to look forward to winning the game.
Thank you so much, man. Our time 42, player of the game, Grant Guyette, Westside, back up against Omaha Burke next week. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you.
Back to you, Ross.
Thanks a lot, Jaden. Again, Grant Guyette, senior wide receiver, is our player of the game. What a night he had. 7 receptions for 130 yards and 4 touchdown receptions. Just a spectacular game in the 49-0 win over Papillion South. And I'll tell you what, it was a game that Westside dominated from the very start. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Dominic Rezak had a 31-yard touchdown run to make it 7-0. Then Anthony Rezak ran up the middle, 7 yards for a touchdown to make it 14-0. And then it was the Grant Guyette show. Rezak to Guyette to make it 28-0 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, Rezak went to Guyette again for a long touchdown pass that made it 35-0. Jamez Ross scored a touchdown to make it 42-0. And then in the fourth quarter, Colby Brown passed to Guyette for a touchdown, and that was the difference in the game.
So with here tonight, Westside, again, able to continue their 22-game win streak. We talked this about before. Next week is going to be a battle between two, I don't want to say run-heavy teams, but two teams that have a lot of depth in their running game. How can Westside pull ahead, and how can they stay consistent with their momentum?
Well, the ground game has been so successful for Westside, and I think what we really found out tonight that it's not just Dominic Rezak, it's Jamez Ross. He had the big game last week against Omaha Benson, and he showed again tonight. I was so impressed with his speed and explosiveness out there that it's another added dimension that this Westside offense has now with 2 running backs, not just Dominic Rezak with Jamez Ross, but then, the offense is so balanced, Jaden. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball. It's a real big headache for any opponent who wants to defend against this offense.
Now, the offense has been big, but the defense has been somewhat an overlooked piece of this team. The linebacking core has been amazing. We've seen a lot of Bo Ryan, a little bit of Kurt Kubrich, a lot of Tommy Connolly, so with some big hits here tonight. The defensive line has been big as well. Cole Hardman last week up against Benson, 2 safeties here tonight. He was in the backfield all night long. If I'm correct, I had him listed down at 3 sacks here tonight. The defense has been so big for this team. I think the biggest piece of this team of how really what they've been known for is how well the running game has been doing. One of the biggest pieces that has been looked off and looked over has been their defense. Is that going to be kind of the dark horse piece to help this team to a state title game?
Well, I think They really haven't been tested by one of the superior offenses probably in the Metro and in Class A. They haven't faced that really strong offense like a Bellevue West, like a Millard South. Probably the best offense they faced was Creighton Prep, but Creighton Prep is a much different team than they were at the start of the season. So they should probably still have to be tested a little bit from what they can do. But from what I've seen, the defense has done a really impressive job, and the way they've shut down everybody these last few games really shows how good they can be.
So Westside 10-0, Omaha Burke 8-2. The odd thing to talk about, though, is that Omaha Burke probably has more experience up against top 10 teams than Westside does. Only one ranked opponent that the Warriors have seen all season. That was the first game up against Creighton Prep. Omaha Burke, although has played two of the top 3 teams in the state, will make it the third next week. They lost both in blowout fashion in Millard South and Bellevue West. So both blowout in fashion, but does that experience help them out next week?
Yeah, the way that they've gained a lot of confidence, the Westside defense has. And earlier in the season, we were concerned about the secondary. I remember they got burned by some big passes early in the season in those opening games. But Westside has really solidified their secondary with Benning back there. They've done a really good job of shutting down the big play, and no one's done that in recent weeks against this Westside defense. So they've come around. They've done better. They've improved a lot since those opening weeks of the season.
So real quick before we end off this one, we'll take a quick break or quick look at the Dunkin Trivia Question of the game. We always got to end it off. Not able to start it off, but able to get the answer to it.
Maybe I can get this one. Okay,
so,
throw it at me.
Westside scored 39 points in the first 10 minutes last week against Benson. We talked about in the KB pregame show. That one was ugly all the way around. When was the last time the Warriors scored 40-plus points in the first quarter? This is a game we streamed. I will admit, I'll say myself, it was not a fun stream. It was cold, it was rainy, it was just not a great night here at Phelps Field. And for their opponent, it wasn't the same way either.
Well, I'll say it was last year's because I know you were streaming, or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years
my
ago.
sophomore year.
Okay, I'll say it was against Omaha Northwest.
You are correct.
All right.
Omaha Northwest, 2 years ago, here at Phelps Field, Westside put up 42 points in the first quarter, 70 points in the first half, and from what I've seen, everywhere I've looked, at least in any kind of NSA record, they do not have it in the NSA record book, but that would be, from what I've seen in my research, it is the most points scored ever in a first half.
Well, that's a pretty impressive first quarter for any team to have. I don't know of too many football teams that have scored 40 points in the first quarter. So hats off to that Westside offense that night.
Westside wins this one 49-0 over Papillion-La South. They'll go up against the Omaha Burke Bulldogs. That game will be live on WTV Live as well as on WestSideWire.net. Along with us here tonight in the WTV Live crew, Maddie Schlegel as our director, Laurel Sekpe as our producer. Alongside me has been Ross Jernstrom. It's been a pleasure as always. My name is Jaden Taylor. Have a wonderful night.